Welcome, everyone, to Circles USA's first learning webinar of 2026, if y'all can
Mm.
believe it. And this webinar is called Launching 2026 with Circles USA. And this webinar is going to be presented today by our Executive Director, Kamatara, who is joining me here today. So, just this webinar is open to anyone and everyone. So, if you are joining us online or from somewhere outside of Circles and maybe you're just learning about us or you don't know about us, what a great place to be. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And for those who maybe don't know Kamatara, she has been with Circles USA for 8 years now. She started, I guess I should have introduced it myself. She started in my role as the Chief Learning Officer, and she has served as the Executive Director for the last 4 years. In that time, she has truly launched Circles USA into the future and firmly established our organization on the forefront of poverty alleviation. So I am super excited to hear from her today to not only review 2025, but tell us what 2026 holds. It's good, trust me. And if you are not already a part of Circles, you are going to want to be by the end of this webinar. So you can check us out and learn more on circlesusa.org. Um, and this is an interactive webinar. So if you have any questions throughout the entire webinar, feel free to either drop them in the chat or put them in the Q&A. I will be following all of that and make sure that all of your questions get answered either throughout the webinar or at the end. So just drop your questions in as you have them. And Kamatara has some questions for you. So get your typing fingers ready so that you can answer her questions in the chat. And as a reminder, this webinar is recorded. It's going to be not only in our member portal for our Circles folks, but it's also going to be on our YouTube page for anybody and everybody to check out. So, with all of that information, I am now going to welcome Kamatara.
Yay. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate the introduction and so grateful that you all are here today. In fact, if you want to warm up your typing fingers, let's just see um, where everyone is from. So would you take a minute to say where you are tuning in from and what chapter you might be with, or if you're with a partner organization, go ahead and type that in. And I hope that you are snugly warm with whatever winter storm might be coming your way soon. So we're going to snuggle in. I'm going to share for about 30-ish minutes, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So I really want to welcome all of you. There are Circles chapters in the room. There are partners I can see in the chat. I can see some funders. I can see, oh my goodness, we've got the national office. We've got local chapters. I see some allies.
The
Woo, there's all
board
sorts of
member.
folks. Yes, board members. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. This is so exciting. Well, let's get started. We are first going to look back at 2025 for Circles USA. In fact, we are mid-process with the 2025 impact report to show our local results nationally. But we do want to share with you a few of the highlights of 2025 from the national office. So, one thing that we just loved to see this last year, and I hope we go even deeper this coming year, is that our website and members portal has really taken off. And the way that you are interacting with each other and asking each other questions and sharing resources, and we're just going to continue to grow that interaction that's happening in our community of practice and continue to upgrade our website. So it's really wonderful that everything is in one place now. Some of the old timers remember we had all different places for all different resources, and now we have a one-stop shop. So much appreciation to Courtney and the team for making that happen, and we got to have the full experience of that last year. And then we really amplified a lot of community voices last year between the podcast, the webinars, the town halls were amazing. The way people showed up and asked questions and gave us great ideas and shared concerns and shared victories. It was amazing. And the way y'all show up for each other in the regional community of practice and support calls, there's just so much connection that's happening and so much listening and space for people to speak up. And the leadership blog series is amazing. Go ahead and hit our blog post on the website if you haven't seen it, and Lives Transformed. And even at the conference to have community voices amplified, it was so beautiful last year. And our Big View activity in 2025 was amazing. That was the first full year with our new training course in the Big View, and there were amazing activities that chapters did. They really up-leveled what happened locally for Big Views. And then our National Big View team released the Social Capital one pager. We hosted our first ever Circles Salon in DC. There's a great blog post about that if you want to read some more about it, but a cross-sector gathering around a specific topic. That one happened to be about the cliff effect. And of course, being in the Cliff Effect Coalition, this national group, has been amazing to get us connected to policymakers and other organizations in this space in ways that we just have not done before. And then also, we have a Cliff Effect one pager, and some of our chapters gathered together to go to their state capital together and use that one pager, and people were hosting their own events in their communities. So there's been some amazing Big View activities. And other greatest hits from 2025 in the national anti-poverty arena, Circles USA was represented in quite a few places. And also our partnerships really expanded, and more to come on amazing partnerships. But we connected with some old friends, we connected with some new friends, and we're just deepening the work that we are doing because of these national partnerships. It expands our reach, it expands the resources we have, it expands our connections. So then we have our own social capital that we can work. So, and of course, the conference. We're gonna have like a whole section just about the conference, but that was a wonderful moment in 2025. So I'm really curious, what was your favorite Circles moment this year, either for your chapter or for your experience with the national office? Take a moment and type in the chat. Favorite moment of Circles this year. Whew, I concur, Gina. Conference was amazing. Oh, okay. I think conference might be winning here. Okay, community of practice calls, learning from our chapters. Oh, the one pagers, they were amazing. The social capital and cliff effect one pagers, very helpful. Yes, conference. Oh, getting a new chapter started. Yay! That is so good. Well, thank you. Keep them coming in. There's wonderful things that happen in 2025. Oh, that's amazing, Sarah, that 20 leaders completed Circle Leader training with cohort 7. And wow, oh, brand new. Woo, Circles team building with Lynn Johnson that 21 attended. Oh, that's so good. All right, keep them rolling in. So the conference was amazing. These are just a few statistics from the feedback that we got. And, for if you're anything like me, it just connecting with the people is so important, and reconnecting with our why and listening to people closest to the challenge, and then just being inspired by each other's best practices and having some of the hard conversations we need to have about working in the anti-poverty arena. All of that was just amazing. And now I know that we have time. We don't have the conference every year, so we can save up our money and our resources to be able to go in 2027. And also, we have time to implement what we learned. Like it's it takes some time to implement with fidelity and test drive things. We don't want to just be on a relentless treadmill of doing. So this gives us some time to implement. So I'm really curious, for those of you who were able to attend the conference, was there anything in particular that you loved about the conference, or was there an upgrade that you made when you got back home, or a new connection that's been really wonderful because of the conference? I especially enjoyed connecting with some of our partner organizations to meet them in person at the conference, that and what they shared was so powerful. And I think my favorite session that I attended that was a hard session, but it was good, was Circle San Diego presenting about serving immigrants and refugees and some of the populations that just need so much more support, and they're in a really tough spot with the newest um, political climate. So there were some great sessions. All right. There also were some big challenges, and we don't shy away from talking about those at circles. We don't pretend everything's just hunky-dory, of course. So, I don't have to state the obvious here, but the uncertain political climate has been really tricky. The funding cuts and program cuts, which led to, some chapters struggling, some lead organizations struggling, and then saying goodbye to a kind of a bumper crop of chapters and pilots that closed, and that was tough. And you know, I appreciate that the national office and the chapters were still incredibly committed to offering a high level of care, even with tightened budget or limited staff, or some of the restrictions that got put out there that might make our work a little hard to do. But we stayed the course. A lot of folks made some priority choices. Okay, what do we have to do to continue to serve our people? Because serving our people is the most important thing. So staying focused on our mission, our vision, and staying in alignment with our values. And whew, challenging year, but I feel like we did amazing, amazing work. So I'm curious, for you, was there anything that was a challenge for you or your chapter last year? And I love seeing all the pictures and these PowerPoints of our beautiful people. None of this is stock photography. These are all our beautiful people from all over the nation. And thank you, Sarah. I hear that. It's very challenging to have leadership changes. Whew. And the budget cuts and priorities, and oh, yes, recruiting volunteers. In fact, we're going to have more on that in a little bit. Yes, being just the first year of your launching, and then limited finances causing staffing cuts, and such a domino effect. And yet, we are strong and mighty, and we keep making it happen. Yes, oh my gosh, thank you, Addie. Protecting the community from government threats, and even some of the local threats that are encouraged by some of the government response. That's hard too. There are some real concerns right now for people's safety. So I really, really appreciate it. All right. Oh, and Bruce wrote a big thing that we had some of our leaders obtaining employment and couldn't come to our regular weekly meetings, but they did maintain connection with their allies. It kind of works, but it's not as great an experience as being in person. Yeah, there's some tricky things to maneuver, but I appreciate everyone for persevering. And reflecting back, we just finished a little cycle of a small strategic plan. So we did 3 years when I first got into position as your executive director. And this was made through a board retreat and interviewing, some chapters and the national office. And we pulled together these four arenas as focus areas. And what just blew me away is that by December of 2025, this is where things stood of, seeing the strategic plan at a glance. I was amazed at how much really happened. Like, we have a national Big V team, we have an advisory council that is rocking it. We updated our core messaging. We have been very deeply exploring and upgrading equity and accessibility within all of our materials and ways of being as an organization. And, the leadership conference, adding board members. I mean, just up and down the list. I'm amazed. I have been in organizations where the strategic plan was propping up a table. So it's wonderful to be in a place where we take it seriously. We are committed to this, and you all kicked in, and we made huge strides in the last 3 years. We're mid-process with the curriculum and data upgrades, which you're going to hear more about. And, to have three things that are left on our list, I think that's pretty amazing. And actually, we learned so much for those three things that are in the beginning stages that I think now we're ready to do them. I don't know if we were ready to do them at that point, but now we are. So I'm excited. So congratulations and high fives all around for just huge progress in the last 3 years. So moving into 2026, some of you heard in the conference that our theme for 2026 is Pathways of Hope. And I'm so excited about this theme. It just touches my heart and lifts my soul. And hope is so important, especially when things feel so hard for so many reasons and so many ways in our personal life and our work at circles and what's happening in our communities or what's happening in the political climate or what's happening with finances. Just it can get really overwhelming. And so if we can stay centered on our mission, our vision, on our values, and on what hope really means. And we can remind each other who and what we are and why we're doing this, and that we can keep going, then that pathway opens up. And we can, even if it's just a little tiny pilot light of hope, we can remember that that pilot light of hope is always lit. It's always there. And remember, as we know from our friends at Hope Wired, who's helping us to upgrade our circle leader training, our ally training, and our progress reports with the science of hope. It is a science. Hope is the belief that the future can be better and that I have the power to make it happen. Doesn't that sound exactly like circles? It's amazing. And we want to focus on those three components of hope, which is that we have meaningful goals, we have multiple pathways, and that we have the willpower or the motivation to make it happen. So we can, this applies to circle leaders and allies and staff and just community members, everyone. So if we feel stuck, we now have this great language to be able to talk about it. Okay, let's pinpoint it. Oh, yeah, my willpower is done. I'm not motivated at all. Great, let's figure out why. Or, yeah, these goals are way too hard. There's too much going. Okay, let's break it down. Or, I feel like I'm stuck. I have no pathway to get to where I'm going. Okay, let's work on that. And I just love how that applies at all the different levels. So I just want to remind us that hope isn't some woo-woo thing. It is concrete, it is measurable, and it is one of the biggest indicators of economic mobility and forward progress that we have. So I look forward to all of us being on that pathway of hope together this year and super excited to see what happens next with hope. So now it's time to look forward to our next strategic plan. And it is for the next 3 years. I kind of like these 3-year sprints that feels very manageable. Although things are changing so rapidly now, it's hard to say. That's the thing about a strategic plan that it's an intention, it's a commitment to where we think we're going, but we're just going to do the best we can with it. And this particular strategic plan, I love it. It is your strategic plan. You helped us to make this. And I feel like it really reflects our organizational growth that this really came from the grassroots up. And if you remember, Chris hosted different town halls, some that were just open listening, some that were appreciative inquiry, that beautiful process we ask you to do when you do the big view, we use it too. It's so powerful. And then Chris used that with the board and our core staff members and with all different groups. And then we ran some specific questions through the advisory council, got to weave it all together. That was my job. I got to take all the information. Oh my gosh, so much information. But it was great because then we could weave it together and see what our focus areas are from what you all said. And that is part of our mission, listening to people who are closest to the challenge. But it also reinforced that our national office does have a pretty accurate awareness of what's going on. It was very affirming. And there were some specific ideas that really helped us to deepen what we think we're doing. But it definitely showed us we were on the right track. So that's helpful. We're all communicating. I love that about our community of practice. So these are the 5 areas, which I'm just going to give an eagle eye view, but to also let you know that the full strategic plan, all 30 pages of it, is going to be available in PDF form when we release the suite of materials that goes with this webinar. You'll be able to have, a real page turner. If you want to see the whole kit and caboodle, you can see it there. But these are the 5 areas. And then I want to get into, so in 2026, this is what we think we're doing. Okay. So we want to foster sustainable and successful chapters. And so, we sometimes get asked the question, like we did at the conference, do you want to have more chapters or do you want to go deeper with the chapters you do have? And the answer is always yes. Yes, we want to add more chapters, but we do that very mindfully. And it's usually like 4 or 5 chapters a year. It's not epic, just a little bit more each year. And we also want to make sure that the way we do that is sustainable and more powerful, and that for the chapters that we already have, how can we do what we're doing better? How can that be more sustainable and successful? So it's a both and that we want to do there. And we want to increase our visibility as experts in the anti-poverty arena. So we've already gotten into the national anti-poverty arena far, far more than we have in quite a few years. But we need to keep at it because it really is a goal for Circles USA to be a nationally recognized name that people just go, Circles, ending poverty. Or they just say Circles and you know exactly what it is. Like Habitat for Humanity. You don't even have to say the whole thing. You just say Habitat. And you know what it is and you know what they do. That's going to be Circles USA. I love it. And of course, we want to be a thought leader, a convener, a coalition builder. And that naturally flows into focus area 3, which is to drive narrative and policy shifts. So we want to shift the narrative around poverty. We're doing that in each local community and nationally. And then how do we shift the system and policy to mitigate poverty? That is one of our biggest goals. So to do that, of course, we have to strengthen our financial stewardship. We have a very small but mighty budget. And we rock that budget hard. We do amazing things with our budget, but it would be wonderful to increase and diversify our funding sources. I know a lot of you out there at your chapter, you're thinking the same thing about your financial stewardship. And when we do that, we can expand our national team. As a lot of you know, we're doing the best we can with our small but mighty team, and we're at capacity, and we would love to be able to do more. So I want to shift into 2026 so you can see some more specifics in each one of these categories, but just for this upcoming year, just take that little slice. So when it comes to those sustainable, successful chapters, that's that first focus area. Our chapter support goals just in 2026 is that we are releasing updated ally and circle leader training. In fact, if any of you are interested in beta testing ally training, that is happening right now. So if you have an ally cohort coming up, let Chris know and they can get you connected. And then circle leader training for beta testing, that'll be coming out in a bit. And we really wanted to clarify the expression of our model and our values, not to change it. I want to say that we are not changing the model or our values, but we do want to be able to express it more clearly. Like we listen to the regional coaches and people in the field to say, well, we actually talk about it this way, or this is the way it actually outpictures for real in our community. So we're working on how we express it better, and same with our values. In fact, let me flip to the value slide. This beautiful work of art. Thank you, Chris, our Chief Learning Officer, surveyed so many people in circles and sifted and sorted and synthesized and pulled it together. And then our amazing graphic designer, Jenny Lipford, put this visual together, and it's so beautiful. And it's so meaningful that our core values, and this is just getting released now, you know, as we speak, blog post coming up soon, is community, transformation, human dignity and worth, accountability, and thriving. And I love the way this is represented visually because it all comes together. So it's one beautiful organic flower, like it all grows together to be this whole healthy organism, right? And it extends through all those arenas. See those concentric circles. All five values work for me personally, for my family, for my community, for the institutions in my community, and for the system that's in place. And just a fun little trick to remember what these five are. There's a little mnemonic. If you look at those five words, you could say, see that, CTHAT. The school teacher in me can't resist. See that? Now you'll be able to remember that. See that is the heart of circles. Those are our core values. So you'll get to spend more time with that, and we'll have the PDF in the program notes. So love it. So we also want to upgrade our fidelity and chapter support process. And again, it's not to make things totally different. It's to do what we're doing better and to support chapters that either might be struggling or we need to have things that are more regular. So how do we upgrade that? And you know, we do want to elevate volunteer and ally recruitment. In fact, some materials were just released on that, and we're going to have a webinar coming up on that. So we get that. We need more of that, and it's coming your way. And then we definitely want to design stronger ways to connect and collaborate. We want to assess the regional community of practice concept, that model, like, is it working for us? Is it accomplishing what we think? How is that going? Is that not going? You know, how is that for people? Because we've been doing it for about 5 years now. So we want to see how that's going. And is that the best way for us to organize? And then we also want to do some some pathway maps for chapter onboarding because we know it's totally different if you are a rural, faith-based, small capacity organization versus if you're an urban, government-based, medium organization. So we're going to be thinking about those kind of patterns and the best practices we have learned from you. So, for our visibility goals, we have just started to implement a national marketing plan. I'm so excited. I don't think we've ever done this before. So 2026 is going to be in two target areas locally to test drive different advertising and see what gets traction. And we're working with a marketing firm to do that. And then we're working on getting grants for 2027 to get that to be a national thing that we're doing. So I'm super excited. And our comms team is continuing to upgrade our online presence and storytelling. As I mentioned at conference, there is a new Circles USA book that I'm working on. I'm excited about that. And I do have a grant out right now that I feel really confident about that we could get to hire a data analyst. I would love to have an in-house data analyst. But either way, we do want to expand our research and our data. And, we've done that with academic institutions before, and we can do that again. And also, we want to continue the national presentations and partnerships and the Circle Salon and the ways that we're just really making a splash on the national scene, which leads to big view goals, shifting the narrative, shifting the policy. We have amazing partners. We have lots of partners now, which is fantastic. And some of them have excellent policy and advocacy branches of what they do, or it's just the core of what they do. So being able to lean into our partners where that's all that they do, that keeps us super well informed and connected, and we can pick and choose the best ways to do some joint advocacy. There's an opportunity to perhaps have a national big view intern. So I'm working on that to see if we might work with some amazing university students in Washington, D.C., who would love to work in the field with an organization. We also are going to be getting an employer focus group together because we have lots of chapters that are asking how do we work directly with employers or small to mid-sized businesses. So that's just in the baby beginning stages. And of course, anything more that we can do for big view resources is always helpful, especially in a midterm election year. There are so many things that are being voted on this year. It is really important. For financial stewardship this year, we are developing second product line offerings. So we aren't so dependent on chapter membership dues. And, we're an educational organization, so we can offer courses and we can offer consultations and we can do site visits and trainings and we can talk to government agencies about how they could add social capital to their offerings and things like that. So we're going to work very mindfully and carefully to just test a few things and see what might be out there. Another thought is we have an amazing data system that other anti-poverty organizations might like to use. It's just a thought. So we're just in like very gentle testing mode right now. And we'll see how that goes. Not only, you know, to raise more income, obviously that's helpful, but the bigger goal is to get more people the resources they need to raise their poverty IQ, to increase social capital, to feel connected across organizations, and for other anti-poverty organizations to live into their mission better. If we could help other organizations to do that, that would be amazing. Of course, we want to work with some of our partners to develop additional projects and pilots. We're going to, again, do that very mindfully on a limited basis, but we do need to do our research and development and new donor strategies and marketing and storytelling. So I'm super excited to see what happens from there. And we definitely have multiple grants already in the hopper, like waiting to hear back, and we're just going to keep at it. We really, really want to double our budget and double our staff in the next 3 years. That is a goal. But I also know that that leads to some growing pains, which I know, some of you have experienced as your own lead organization has grown. So we want to make sure that our HR policies and procedures are really in place, and we can be very mindful about the hiring process and who's being hired and what's most helpful. And we definitely want to launch our equity task force, which is going to be headed up by Chris. So if you are interested in doing that, please let Chris know, because we want to have a cross-section of folks in circles and maybe some partner organizations to just help us quietly behind the scenes to, evaluate some of our policies, procedures, and things like that. It's not very glamorous work, but that's where a lot of things happen. So we're excited to get that going as well, because that equity lens is so essential to the work that we're doing. So I'm just curious if there's anything about this plan that you've heard that excites you, concerns you, sparks curiosity. Like, let's just pause for a minute here. I know that was a lot to take in. Hmm. And maybe you're still percolating. We're gonna have our Q&A time in just a minute or two. Just we're almost there. So even if you're still percolating, it's okay. Ooh, thank you, Lynn Johnson. Excited about the forward momentum of circles nationwide. Yay. Oh, excited about the employer focus group. Yes. Oh, and the new ally and circle leader training. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this. So, first off, I'm going to toot Chris's horn because they are an amazing curriculum development specialist. Our chief learning officer is incredible. And not only the consciousness that they bring to the work, but excellent writing, excellent visuals. And now that Addie and Chris are certified in the trauma of money, and then Sarah Thornburg and Chris are certified in family-centered coaching, being able to weave that into our trainings, oh, they're going to be amazing. I can't wait to see the difference. I'm so excited. And then, yes, thank you, Addie. Really excited about bigger national visibility. I don't want us to be the best kept secret. Not anymore. We're done with that. No more playing small. Well, we want to be small and relational. Of course, small batches is the secret sauce of circles, but many small batches that create this constellation of big. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. Ooh, oh, and thank you, Lisa. I love the core values graphic too. It's so beautiful. So just a couple announcements, and then we'll shift into Q&A. All right. So some of you may have heard at the conference, but I am in fact going to be taking a small sabbatical. In fact, starting on Monday. Wow. So I'm going to take 4 weeks off to just heal and rest, and just, you know, it's really important for all of us to be taking care of ourselves. And as a lot of you know, the last couple of years have been pretty grueling for me, and I don't want to be burnt out. I love my job. I love you all so much, and I love what we get to do, and I love our people so much. So I want to come back refreshed and ready to go. So Gina and the team, they are here to help you the next 4 weeks, and it's going to be great. And oh, we are streamlining the circles support calls. So really, really check out the loop. Um, check out the loop to see how the coordinator support call, the coaches support call, the next webinar, that all of that, we're shifting based on the feedback that you all gave us, that there were too many days of the week and too many meetings, and that it would be really helpful if it was like one day is Circles Day. And so we're test driving Monday afternoons. So we'll just give that a whirl, and you can always give us feedback on how that's working for you or not working for you. And we are super excited that the next webinar is actually on Monday, and it's with Addie, Redefining Hero. And if you didn't catch part one, please go back and watch it because it's incredible. And then part two is, mm, we are so fortunate to have Addie as our national coach. They are an amazing coach. They bring so much to the table. And we are beta testing ally training. So if you want to get in on that, please let Chris know. So I'm going to show you a closing slide just because it's so beautiful. Our graphic designer, Jenny, just does it so well. Love it. I'm so excited for 2026. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just see if there are any other comments or questions that you want to put in the chat.
We don't have any questions yet. Please ask your questions if y'all do. But we have a lot of great commentary about just how glad everyone is that you're taking a sabbatical and being such a good example for the rest of us to practice good self-care. I Niam, I believe maybe is how you pronounce your name, is part of the
Neve.
Neve. Neve is part of the Addie fan club, and so am
Oh,
I.
who isn't?
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you, Addie, for coming in and telling me how to pronounce their name. And thank you, Kamatara, for what you shared about me. Y'all, I am over the moon about this training. I'm so excited. If you are doing a training in now through March for circle leader training or beginning April, May for, no, sorry,
You said
now
it
through
back.
March for ally training. If you're beginning circle training in April or May, tell me because we would love to have you beta test. So,
And for those of you who are longtime Circles veterans, just imagine back to like 2017 or 2015 and think what our circle leader training was like, or think what our ally training was like. And then, of course, we had the upgrade in 2019, which was just light years ahead. But now this new one that's coming up is like a quantum leap. It is so next level. And I love that it's going to be, you know, trauma sensitive and that it's, yeah, with the family-centered coaching concepts, and that it's like a different posture of relating to people, which is so the Circles way. And we do have a really deep partnership with the Prosperity Agenda now, doing a few things with them. So we're going to continue to get anything and everything we can to you about like more about coaching, more about, how to do that even better, more deeply, how to relate to our folks in a way that just fosters empowerment. It'd be great.
yeah, wow. That and the trauma of money also. For those of you who are at conference, I mean Chantel's keynote, well, true, Jamari's keynote also. Oh my gosh, and Kamatara's. I mean, all of the keynotes were incredible. But yeah, we have some incredible partners. If you didn't get a copy of the Trauma of Money book that's signed by Chantel, we still have some at Circles that we could that you could purchase from us and we'll send to you. Reach out to Gina for that. But also the Trauma of Money work is in there as well. So just really good stuff all the way around.
Yeah,
I told
super
y'all it was
excited. And the
good.
webinars that are coming up, there are some amazing things
Yeah,
coming up.
yes.
Lots of wonderful learning. All right. Well, maybe you don't have questions now. Totally fine. But if you think of some, you can message me when I get back. So I will be back at it February 23rd. In the meantime, Gina will be, looking at emails and managing things, and the team is just awesome. They're ready to do that. And coming back at you like a new woman and then ready to balance my self-care all the time. So yes, go Gina, go team. We have such a good team you don't even know. Well, you do know because you know. Oh my goodness. Well, and thank you, Bruce, for the wonderful comment that, we've worked really hard to create a parent organization and so grateful that folks feel trust and feel community and that we're all growing and learning together. There really isn't this up-down hierarchy. We're, partners on the journey and y'all share with us and then we respond and then we're all working together. Like that is so the circle's way. And I'm so grateful that the national office gets to embody that more than ever before. It's wonderful. We just learn so much together and get to do great work. So the values PDF and the strategic plan PDF will be posted with this video in the members portal. And then also the video will be in YouTube. So you can share it with folks who maybe didn't get to make it. Or if you ever have any funders or other people that are saying, well, we want to know about that national office, you can say, oh, here, check this out. So you've got a wonderful resource now. And if you think of anything else that you'd like to know, please send it to the team. Thank you so much. And please take good care.
Thank you so much, Kamatara. We'll give her a big round of applause. I know everybody is cheering you at home or at their offices. Thank you. So, as Kamatara said, we'll have resources and recordings. I will also send over the ally and volunteer recruitment strategic guide that Kamatara alluded to. So, that will be with those resources in the member portal as well for y'all. Thank you so much for being here. And even though Kamatara is on sabbatical, just ask anyone from the national office your questions. As y'all know, we are super available and excited to hear from y'all. Thank you so much.
Yay, take good care, y'all.
Bye, y'all.